L.
It's an I instead of an L.
How's the we're all loud? Well, that's better than one of us. You know? Alright, let's hope for the best. Huh! Did we do it? Wait, I gotta restart myself because I'm out of sync.
Oh, that's very close to my face. I should sit back.
I tried. He just really likes being very close. Yeah, I tried, man. I couldn't zoom out because you're everywhere on the screen. Sit back, relax.
So you don't like just get out of frame.
Please notice me, HappyStick senpai.
Oh god. I don't turn that shit off. Clean screen. What up, man? Thank you, dude. Hold on. Give me 1 second.
Alright. I'm waiting.
I know.
I hate that everyone says that I look like Chippy.
Whoa. Like an attractive Chippy.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing though.
I mean, you can look like anyone as long as it's like an attractive version, it's fine. All right.
So.
Okay, I think we're good.
Chippy wears beanies though, and I'm wearing a beanie now. But I'm doing it because it's cold here, and not because it's stylish.
Interview with Chippy, let's go. All right, a little bit of an introduction to Toy. If you are unaware of who Toy is, well, first of all, I'd be very, very surprised as to why you're even here. Because you likely don't even know what Osu is if you don't know what Toy is, who Toy is. How long have you been playing?
I've been playing, well, I made my account in 2013. Like
really?
The summer of.
Oh god, so
yeah,
like not even 4 years.
No, and then I like stopped for a little bit and then really started during the winter and like the start of 2014. So basically like January of 2014. So like
wow.
3.5 years.
You're making me feel very inadequate, man. Holy hell,
Wait,
alright.
Been here for like what, 8 now?
8.5.
Ugh.
It's embarrassing.
Number. So my fun fact was right. But the time between you making your account and me making my account is larger than me playing the game.
It is. I should be a double Toy at this point. Well, I'm looking up the okay, there we go. And well, you're mainly known for
sorry.
No, sorry. No worries. What's up?
To be fair, you're half my rank. So
are you 24 right now?
Well, yeah, I'm 22. Close enough.
Okay, I'll go with that. It means I'm twice as good. You heard it here first. That's what it means. No, the Twitter is spelled right. Apparently the L in his name is an I.
It is an I.
Yeah, no, this is actually, it looks like a fuck up, but it is the opposite of a fuck up actually. It is actually
he made sure
properly done.
Right.
Yeah. Learning as we go. All right. Well, your skill set is pretty specific. You're known for very weird, funky, low AR generally stuff, crazy accuracy, really solid reading. Is there any specific reason that kind of drew you to that in particular? Because it's not really as rewarded in Osu as one probably feels it should be.
Right. It was mostly just because when I started playing the game, I saw like, I remember watching like the best of 2012, like the top 20 of 2012. God. And I was like, all these different players were doing different things. And I was like, I want to be good at everything. So I just tried to be good at everything. And it was just kind of luck that I started out playing like really old maps and like started playing like stuff that was difficult to read. And that's what I got like better at. But it was mostly just me being like, I just want to play everything.
Because interestingly enough, I feel like if you are good at reading, that is kind of the thing that just translates into being good overall. That's the beauty of it, where even if you might not be particularly fast initially, I feel that if your reading is on point, if you have that as a solid basis, anything beyond that kind of comes a lot easier because they tend to be more tech or more mechanical skills rather than mental skills. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the reason that at least I feel like I got better at reading was that because I wanted to play everything, I tried to play everything, and that like built up a bunch of different skills all at once. At least for like pattern recognition, I was just being like fed different patterns that like I can do now, I guess. If that makes sense.
No, that makes sense. Would you say there's a difference between low AR in terms of old maps and low AR in terms of newer maps? Like, let's say you put modern maps. Obviously, they have much better flow and mapping skills associated with them. But would you say that throwing those on low AR is similar to playing old maps, or is it really the weird ass patterns and old stuff that really helps?
I think that if you were to just like take whatever ranked map is out there right now and then put it to like AR8, it would be a lot different because older mapping is very linear and it's got a lot of like grid snapped patterns, whereas if you were to just put AR8 on newer mapping, that would be fairly difficult and probably even harder just because of how simplistic older mapping is. So
oh, even harder? Okay,
probably.
So you wouldn't probably so you wouldn't say that if you can do the low AR stuff in older maps, that wouldn't necessarily mean you can also do it on newer stuff. You would say that
they're kind of different. They're kind of different skills, really. It's like playing easy on older maps is very different from playing easy on newer maps. Like, okay, you could play easy on older maps because they have simple patterns and they're easy to read because you're like, this is how a pattern works, and then you play it. Whereas newer mapping, it's like very all over the place. So if you can do like lower AR on newer stuff, I feel like you would have like stronger pattern recognition.
That's really interesting because I feel I mean I agree with you, but I feel the opposite, where I feel like modern mapping is very simple in terms of there's no like gimmicky weird ass patterns that you can't really read. Like, they kind of tend to make more sense than I feel when I play old stuff. Like, old stuff to me feels super random and like derpy and kind of all over the place in comparison.
Yeah, that is true. I guess if you were to compare like any TV size of now, it would be a lot more simplistic of like, this is like a jump pattern.
Oh my god, I gotta find a way to turn this shit. Sorry. Fucking cheers. Oh my god. That's not... That shouldn't even be on. I turned that shit off, man.
Nice.
Give me a second.
Oh good, both my roommates are awake.
Okay, should be fixed. I say should be. Alright. Sorry about that. Okay, the main beauty of... How do I put this? When I look at your skill set, obviously, in terms of your skill set specifically, you're someone that I look up to, and I mean that in a very positive way.
Oh.
But you seem to be kind of a hybrid between someone like Wolf and some newer players. But you do seem to struggle with, you know, just faster stuff. I don't know if speed is necessarily the right way to put it. What is kind of your limit nowadays in terms of your skill set, where you don't see you do any real DT or like any real fast hidden heart rock or very, very jumpy stuff?
I've been trying to like cover all my weaknesses lately, which means that like my speed has gotten a lot better, but I still do very much struggle with stamina. So like I could play a very quick map, like 260 or something, but if it's short, I can't do it for very long. And like very big full screen jumps, because I play a lot of ranked maps, and ranked maps don't typically feature like very large, just unranked jump maps, like jump patterns. So those are some things that I've like fallen behind on.
And do you feel that the more that you play this faster stuff, that you kind of lose that basis that you have, or is that something that doesn't really deteriorate for you?
Not quite, really. Usually, if I'm working on something new, I'll still like intersperse like stuff that I am good at just because it's fun, and I'll play it.
Right.
So I don't ever feel like I'm falling behind in anything. It's always just kind of a very slow build up of everything all at once.
Right, because a lot of people, me included, I used to feel this way. I've kind of changed my mind, but for a lot of people that play a lot of high AR stuff, they tend to be very inconsistent. And then the common advice is, oh, you should just play a lot of older stuff or a lot of low AR stuff. And then they're like, oh yeah, I tried that for like a week, but then I lost my high AR reading, and I didn't want that, so I just went back to high AR. What would you say is the either cause of that or the misconception? How do you feel about that?
I think that skills such as speed and stamina and like very high AR reading, those are skills that require constant attention to not fall behind in. But I feel like reading and aim are very, at least aim is very muscle memory, and reading is something that like once you gain, you can't really lose. So those are stuff that you can like build up to be quite like a high caliber, and then work on speed and stamina and not have the other stuff fall behind. Whereas if you do it backwards and you build up speed and stamina very quickly, and then you try and do reading for a week, you're gonna kind of fall behind, and you're like not gonna be able to be as fast as you were before, but it'll be easier for you to get back to that level.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. But it's, for a lot of people, it seems to be very demotivating. The issue that I feel causes a lot of people to go for that speed in the first place is because it's one of those things that feels good very quickly. Like, it's moderately simple to see improvement in terms of your speed, and then that feels good.
Yeah.
And then you keep going. It's like a short-term basis of an approach to playing. But then people also expect that same level of feeling good when they go with reading, whereas with reading, it is it is mostly about, you know, just taking the time to never, you know, compromise on your movement on a pattern, to not really just spam to hold your combo, just all this stuff that is bad habits that is so easy to do on fast stuff. That's how I view it personally.
I kind of blanked because there's stuff
Yeah, no worries.
behind.
I got you.
But I don't know. I feel like, oh god, what were we talking about?
What air product you use, man? Don't worry about
hair
it.
Product?
Yeah.
It's honestly just me biking in the wind, and then my hair will stand up, and then that's just how it is.
All right. Well, that's easy. All right.
Hair, blow your hair with like a hair dryer. It'll stand up straight. You don't use hair product.
Now, something that you said, or your approach over the times that we've met, mainly in matches, something that really stuck with me was the times that you said, "Oh, I gotta go check the editor because I missed here and I don't know why. I could before," or like, "Oh, I don't really understand why I couldn't get 1,000 combo because I like on that at the LAN recently when we played Sentimental Skyscraper. You were like, oh, I normally could get 1,000 combo on this very consistently. Now I didn't. I wonder why."
Yeah.
Whereas for me, like my gut reaction to that is, why is that even a question? Because even if I could read something, doesn't necessarily mean I can do it consistently. That is not like the same thing to me. Whereas to you, it seems like it is, which is very interesting to me.
It's like if I normally hit a pattern, like if it's somewhat simple, I should be able, like in my head, I feel like I should be able to hit it consistently, which is why I kind of have like a really high, what's it called? Like high expectations for myself when I play in tournaments, where I'm like, I should be able to FC most of these maps every single time. And if I don't, I'll feel like, oh, I've fallen quite behind.
Yeah, okay. No, it's very interesting. It seems to be one of the major differences between the majority of players. I view myself as one of the majority versus someone like you who is a lot more all-rounded, where playing seems to be a lot more of a conscious effort.
Yeah.
I talk to you a lot in private, right, about improvement and how to approach stuff.
Yeah, totally.
An example would be, I can see a pattern, but no matter how hard I focus, my hand does something that I don't want it to do and I'll miss. Whereas for you, it seems like if you know how to do it, you are able to consciously make it happen.
Yeah.
Do you think that
And-
that's largely reading based?
It could be. Yeah. Like there are some patterns that will require me to like focus a lot harder. Like I remember Azer was talking about those dopamine triangles.
Right.
Like I know
Oh,
how
God.
they work.
Yeah.
And if I'm just playing unconsciously, which I do quite a lot, and so I have a tendency to like just misread dumb stuff because I'm like not paying attention. If I'm like just playing like I normally am, I'll miss something there. But if I focus like very hard and I'm like very attentive to what my hands are doing, then I'll hit it more like way more consistently.
And is that because you never skip a note, kind of in your vision, or is it because you kind of?
I feel like it's because I'm consciously making the movements in my head that like I'm hitting them one by one instead of like as a pattern.
Because I feel that that is a skill that most people, including myself, lack, is that hitting everything consciously, finishing every pattern properly, which causes the inconsistencies that you don't necessarily seem to have an issue with.
Mm-hmm.
Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
What are some like the main common mistakes that you see in other players? Like the glaring ones to you that might not be as obvious to the general player?
I think just focusing on one thing for too long. I wouldn't even say that it's like a problem because some people just enjoy doing one thing and they're like, I'm okay with only being like a low BPM hard rock player or a very fast like DT pass player. But like, I don't know what you're like in terms of like people trying to improve and like what mistakes they're making. Or...
Yeah, I think that's the main thing, because obviously there's people that consciously choose not to really care too much and they solely play for fun in one specific aspect. But I'm mainly talking about people that are very committed to improving, such as myself, that might just be having kind of a wrong mindset or a wrong approach.
It might just be trying to force it too hard. Like, if, like, I feel like speed is something that you can very much spam and like can like just do a bunch of it and then you'll get better. Reading and like aim and stuff isn't something that you can just spam for a while and be like get better at it.
Right.
It's kind of something that you have to like enjoy really, because the whole thing about improving reading is just playing a ton of different stuff. And if you're like not enjoying what you're doing, then like, of course you're gonna lose focus. You're not gonna like be paying attention to what you're trying to improve on.
Right.
And so it makes it a lot harder.
In that sense, I personally feel like people like Wolf and yourself, in a sense, obviously it took a ton of dedication, and not to say anything negative about that, but you got kind of lucky in the sense that you happen to enjoy doing those things, and that then gave you the basis on which you built further. Would you?
Yeah, for sure.
Because if you enjoy something, it's obviously a lot easier to get better at it.
Yeah, I look up to Wolf like immensely. Like he's probably one of my favorite players of all time, and that's just because he'll play everything. Like he's been doing his map packs, like just playing all of them on stream.
Yeah,
and I'm like. I want to just play these all too, and it just because we both just like doing that, it very much helped our reading because we started playing. We were exposed. That's the word I was looking for earlier. We were exposed to so many different patterns and like maps that it just helped us quite a lot. Whereas some people have like specific maps that they enjoy doing, like. Not saying that Azer isn't like good at improving, but he mostly only likes to play like rhythm game songs. He'll like kind of skip out on
game
maps.
songs.
Well, he'll skip out on maps if he doesn't like the song, which is like, in my opinion, like you're kind of missing out on some stuff. Which is like, I mean, it doesn't matter if like he doesn't want to do that or anything, but like to me, it always seemed weird to not play a map just for the song or for whatever reason.
What would you say, in your view, if you purely look at it from an improvement perspective, what would you say are the components of, like, the quote-unquote perfect player? A hypothetical perfect player.
Hypothetical perfect player would be as well, like, in my opinion, Cookie Z is pretty much the perfect player.
Right.
Because he can do everything at such a high level. I can't think of a skill in which more than 3 people are better than him.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree with that.
Because he won't drop anything ever. He'll always be practicing everything all at once. He'll be doing, like, hidden on old, like, very difficult to read maps. Like, I remember he's got, like, Rainbow Tylenol, Pilipala FCs with hidden. He'll be doing very fast, high AR speed stuff, like Akatsuki, whatever, Zukuyo, whatever.
I'm terrible with map names, but... Oh, right.
The one with the blue background, there's some girl.
With a fence?
Very
Yeah,
big,
I got you. Yeah.
Yeah, with the fence.
Her head's very big,
like,
alright.
That's like 3,000 different maps.
Yeah. About half the map base. No, I get what you mean.
Mm-hmm.
And how do you... Because he is such an interesting beast in that regard, right? Like... Yes, there's people like you and Whoop of Wolf who play all this old stuff, and your reading is, compared to everyone else, basically your reading is on point. Like Rust Bell is another example, just amazing in terms of reading. But then you don't necessarily enjoy too much going out of that bubble.
Yeah.
Whereas, sorry,
like,
go ahead.
I look at Whoop of Wolf and we both enjoy playing all these stuff, but that also lends itself to just being comfortable with where we're at in our skill level, and we'll just kind of sit there. That's why we kind of both decay for a while, and then sometimes we'll start to, like, try hard and we'll farm some, like, a little bit.
Yeah, because you kind of seem to have churned out that like Ice Angel, Hidden Heart Rock, United SS, like all this crazy stuff that's pretty much unheard of. You don't seem to have that many issues once you focus on that stuff.
Right. Like, the reason Cookie Z is so far ahead of everyone is because he never stops pushing himself in any aspect. He's always trying to get better at whatever he's doing. He doesn't seem comfortable just being himself. He always wants to be better.
I mean, maybe that is himself, right? I feel like that's kind of the thing where he got lucky in a way, in the fact that that is how he is and wants to play the game.
Yeah.
Baruchi seems to be another example of that. Would you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely. Like, I was not around very much when he
really?
was in his, like,
I feel so old.
prime.
Oh my god. I remember Baruchi's like upcoming and his disappearance.
His, like, absolute prime was like 2013, 2014, which is, like, very much when I started playing. So once I started getting interested in the game, he was doing stuff like Tome Elegy when it was qualified FC.
Yeah.
That's what, like, I remember from him. But, like, I was not around for when he, like, hard rocked Terror, Leaf Eye Terror.
Oh man, I remember, like, the troll miss at the end because it was too boring. He did like 5 tries and he got it. It's insane stuff.
If anything, Baruchi might be the most all-around player of all time, just because he also plays Flashlight.
Right? Yeah, the Neuronatia play. Holy hell!
He's got one on this LKS map. Let me find it. I think it was like Silver Temple. He's got some Flashlight score on that. And he also played Easy. Yeah, it was the LKS Silver Temple.
I don't think I know that one.
You can link it in chat.
What would you say, like, in a lot of ways, I'm pretty much a typical player. What would you say would your view, because I'm using myself in this example because it's easier.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be okay at the end of these 30 days with the fact that I'm gonna have lost some speed. I'm gonna not be able to read AR 10.5 nearly as well as 3 weeks ago, for example. Because I know that I'm kind of sacrificing that for the focus on all that, you know, on-point reading, finishing patterns, snapping ability, hopefully accuracy stuff.
Yeah.
what would you
absolutely.
say would be the best approach in general, like the heaviest focus, maybe a list of 3 things or something equivalent, that someone that is already very good but wants to actually gain that consistency, etc., should be focusing on, or how to even focus on it?
Like per map? I
Not
guess.
not specifically per map, just per skill set.
I guess. Well, I mean, like it's each skill is very different in like what you should be focusing on. Like if you're training accuracy, you should be focusing on following the music and like making sure that your clicking is lining up with the notes that are coming on screen as like best as you can.
Right.
Usually it's helpful to play very simple maps as opposed to like technical maps to just work on that. If you're playing like for speed, it's just pushing yourself as much as you can. Like if you can do 263, kinda play 270 and just try to work your hands as much as possible to build up speed or stamina. If you're trying to train aim and reading, it's very much focusing on like looking at the screen and like playing, making sure that like each note is being clicked at any certain time. Like if you're playing a jump pattern, this actually it helps me quite a lot. And sometimes you'll fall behind the rhythm and you'll like start to hit hundreds, but as long as you're like making sure that each, like you're looking at each note and you're clicking it consciously, like your hand is in the right place and you click down and then you move it to the next.
You feel
note
that
in
is
the
more
pattern.
important than actually hitting it or maybe missing it but staying on rhythm? You'd say in terms of
Yeah.
aim that is more important?
Well, in terms of like reading and making sure that you're doing patterns properly, that's very helpful. I
That's-
find because
yeah,
you'll start to be able to hit it faster and you'll start to be able to do those patterns on time.
Right. No, it's Brinkster just said in chat, it's the same as Azer said yesterday, that was what helped him the most, was slowing his game down and doing exactly what you just said. Like for example, I just had it phrased out, but it disappeared into thin air. For someone that already has generally speed, aim, stuff as abilities, would you say that solely focusing on reading would be the most efficient way to gain that consistency?
I feel like it's gonna open a lot of doors for you.
Sorry,
serious.
the phrasing.
Like
Like we're in a job interview.
like you'll be able to like start to hit patterns, I feel, that you used to think of as like god mode patterns, like, and you'll just kind of be able to do it and you'll be like, huh, that was way easier than I feel like it was before.
Yeah, some of the, I don't know if for you personally, but the real god mode moments are when you can properly look at every single circle and kind of calmly move on to the next one and not really lose that flow. Those are the real god mode moments where you're like, you feel this, you like know you're gonna hit it kind of flow, which
Yeah.
I feel Kukazi is at the level of reading where that is just how he plays generally, which is why he is so incredibly consistent.
Right.
Do you feel that he has better reading than people like you or Wolf, or do you feel like
I think he's got like probably like he's underrated just because he's
did you say
good
Kukazi's
at
underrated?
everything. Underrated in his reading.
Oh,
because, well,
okay.
I mean, it's weird to say because like when you consider people in each specific skill, you'll always think of like GN, Reviclia, who else, whatever, that's good at reading. These are like the top tier players that you think of when you like think of reading, because they're like, oh, they're good at easy. Like GN can do a lot of different ARs, but
Right.
Cookie Z's reading of like his basis of what he understands each pattern fundamentally is insane. Like his ability to like look at every single pattern and do it at the bet. Like there'll be moments in his stream where he'll like catch himself. He'll like misread something and he'll catch himself, but he'll still do the pattern.
Yeah, I've seen that. It's insane. I feel like it's something that is easy to miss when you're not as involved in playing on a high level. But it's some of the shit that you see him adjust is just wow.
He'll adjust very quickly, and he'll still maintain his combo because he won't sacrifice on that pattern. He won't like panic and like move to the left and then to the right. Which
I feel is such an essential thing, is that not panicking mindset where you just stay calm and just regain your, not necessarily composure, but you know, you don't sacrifice on it and just start kind of spamming. That's something that a lot of people fall into, myself included, a lot. Do you ever really have that issue, or do you feel that that is only the case when something is borderline too hard to read for you?
Panicking?
Like kind of sacrificing your reading and completion of a pattern because you're afraid you might miss, kind of thing.
It's a problem that I feel like I have on higher star difficulty maps.
Oh,
where
interesting.
Like I'll be doing pretty fine, and then I'll kind of miss a pattern, and then that's when I start to sacrifice my like the completion of the pattern, because I'm like, I can't miss here or something like that. I like in my head it'll be a much more panicky moment because I feel like I'm playing something above my level than if I'm playing a 5-star map and I fuck something up because I'm not paying attention. That's like when I'm like much more comfortable doing the pattern completely. I guess it's kind of hard to explain.
How would you?
There will be times that I will just kind of panic.
How would you say? Because you say that, you know, Kokazi has a reading ability that kind of far exceeds everyone else. Do you feel that that is a combination of the fact that he really always focuses on it while simultaneously pushing his other skills, which then kind of elevates his reading ability as well? Or do you feel like he just kind of spent even more time practicing reading than maybe Wolf or yourself, and also focuses on everything else?
I think he found. I feel like he unlocked the secret to reading at a very very early year.
Yeah,
like at a very very early in his career, he realized that there was a certain best way to play each pattern and and make sure that he's playing it correctly. And I feel like at this point it's very subconscious, but he'll play every new map that he does with this mindset of playing the map as it was mapped instead of trying to cheese it, I guess.
Yeah. No, I feel like, and I had that realization a couple years ago. I feel like he just approaches Osu like it would be a math problem, right? Once he solved it, he knows how to do it, and then he can do it.
Yeah, I feel like he kind of figured out the best way to improve or to learn how to do something he can't do, and then that in combination with never stopping pushing himself.
What would you feel, off the top of your head, if anything, would be some solid questions to ask him to kind of get, because you can imagine someone like him probably would not be able to write you a page as to what is different between him and everyone else, right? So kind of the interview that I'll try and do with him is to try and lift the veil a little bit.
Mm-hmm. I guess how he approaches a new map how he approaches stuff that he cannot do. If there's something that's too hard for him, what does he do differently? What does he feel like he does differently than other people when he's trying to learn a new skill, or to try and play a map that he can't do? Because he'll play a map with DT and get a B, and then a week later he'll FC it very easily.
Yeah, I feel like sorry, go ahead.
I'm just confused as to how he makes these jumps so quickly.
I kind of came to the conclusion that I think part of it is that his baseline reading and everything is so solid that the only way, the only thing generally that he has to improve to be able to do stuff is purely mechanical. And mechanical stuff is always generally quite easy to improve in comparison to anything reading. Like, I feel like even if he can't do something, he can still read it. It's just purely a mechanical aspect that he can't do yet, which then is quite, for all intents and purposes, quite easy to get to.
To be honest, I think the reason why it's so easy for him isn't mostly his reading. It's just that his aim is also just nearly perfect, really.
Right.
I feel like he learned how to read properly very early, and then worked on his aim immensely until it was pretty impeccable. And then now, all he has to work on, like, those are the two most important skills to me in the entire game, is reading and then aim.
Right.
But if you can do those both, then you can do basically most everything once you like start to build up whatever else you need.
That makes sense. Yeah. Interesting.
I think he just figured out that like these are the two most important things, and he just worked on them very, very hard, and like he just never stopped trying to get better at them.
I wonder if that was like an active process for him, or if that's just also something that he kind of got lucky and just kind of fell into. That's the stuff I wonder at night before I fall asleep.
I think it was. I'm not even sure if it was conscious, because he was always just trying to play the hardest map that was out there. I think he would play Big Black, or he would play Airman, or he would play Beatty's Mittens. He'd try to FC
the squares and shit. Oh man, I tried it today. Squares is still my nemesis. I just lose track, and then once you're one piece off, it's just, oh my god.
Those ones are awful. Do you spin clockwise or counterclockwise?
I spin clockwise.
Really? Okay. I spin counterclockwise.
Do you feel that that is of any significance?
I mean, in terms of, well, that pattern would be harder for you because those squares rotate counterclockwise.
Oh, interesting. So, I never thought of that.
Yeah, so it's harder for you to hit. Like those triangles in Dopamine would be slightly easier for you to hit because they rotate.
I can hit them quite consistently. Clockwise. I just can't hit the note out of the triangle. Like the first note out of the triangle, I always overshoot it, or like I'm above it or something.
What you can do is add hard rock, and that'll just reverse the rotation as well. But
pro strats.
But in terms of like rotating patterns like that, yeah, it's a lot easier for people who spin a certain way to hit patterns that rotate in that certain way.
Yeah, that makes sense. Now that I think about it, I am more comfortable with stuff that goes clockwise. Definitely, triangles included. Interesting. That's a piece of information I never considered. What for me to kind of plug my coming month, what do you feel would be most important for me to focus on?
For you to focus on?
Yeah, because I have, several of these areas. I have object density, then like pattern complexity, which is also reading, but I feel a little bit different.
I'm not sure how I would break it up. Like break up reading into stuff that you're not good at, because I feel like I haven't spectated you enough to know specifically what aspect of reading troubles you the most.
Right.
But
I can tell you, it's the moment that anything is lower AR, I just instantly lose my ability to snap. And when I lose my ability to snap, I don't properly finish patterns, both mentally and physically. So then it's just kind of this loose, inconsistent blob, even though I might hit stuff.
It might just be that when there's too many notes on the screen, your mind goes too quickly. Like what Laser said about slowing your game down. You're focusing on a pattern that like is 2 notes before the one that you're supposed to be hitting.
Yeah, that is definitely true. What would you say is a good approach to kind of work on that, if you will? If you feel there is one.
People always throw out easy mod, and I feel like a lot of people don't understand why easy is a good help for reading. Like they'll just think, oh, easy is good for reading, but like they don't quite understand why. And really, I feel like what easy does is it forces you to understand what you're playing and focus on the note that you're currently on
Right.
before moving on to the next one, while
That
there's
makes
a ton
sense.
of stuff on the screen.
Because I always,
So-
I completely agree with that. My only qualm with it is that easy is to such an extreme that the skill that you learn there, if you, for example, can play Area 10 and then you focus on easy and get better at that, I feel like the extreme is too far on the opposite end for your brain to then really carry it over to higher ARs, if that makes sense.
Then that's why also just playing lower, like AR7 on stuff, which is why like a lot of old maps are helpful, and that's why people will also say old maps, because there's just a larger number of maps that are like somewhat difficult that have lower AR.
Right.
If you play maps like, I don't know, Astro Sexy, that will also, that's AR like 8, I think, but that still forces you to hit every individual note in a pattern.
Yeah,
without-
that's really hard. Would you ever say it's okay to kind of group them together? Like, let's say there's Astro Sexy, there's these notes of like 5 singles to the right, and then up one row and to the left. Would you ever say it's fine to like group them up, or would you say always try and focus on individual approach?
I'll sometimes break up a whole pattern, like one combo, into like 3 little combos. Like, I remember Gokuri was talking about how to hit squares better, and he said break up the square into 2 singles, like into 2 linear
Right.
jumps. And so that it helps your brain like understand where your aim should be, and it helps reset it more properly. And you can do that with patterns in Astro Sexy. Like there's like a stream of 5 notes to the right, and then it'll go up a little bit and go to the left, and then it's kind of like a pyramid.
Right. Yeah, I remember that one.
You can very much break that up into, all right, here's the pattern going to the right, and now I'm going to hit the pattern going to the left, and then kind of break it up like that, instead of being like, there's a whole pyramid, I have to hit the pyramid.
Yeah, that's
a
really
lot harder to
yeah,
process.
especially when you're not used to playing lower AR. It's just your brain just kind of just blanks out. There's too much, and then it just kind of overloads.
Yeah.
If you have any viewer, because we're kind of 45 minutes, 15 more minutes. If you have any viewer questions, go right ahead. Shoot them in the chat, aimed at Toy or just in general. Yeah, no, I'm. It's really interesting. The more I focus on reading, I told you before, it kind of feels like putting the game on easy mode for a lot of things, because I have all of these skills that are far above my reading level. So whenever I like unlock like a new little shard of reading, it like exponentially helps with a lot of these things that otherwise would feel difficult. It's very interesting. Do you lead with your aim, or do you lead your play with your tapping? I'm not entirely sure what he means by that, but maybe you do.
My favorite old map to play? Oh, goodness.
Oh, you're just reading the chat?
Yeah.
All right, that works too.
I'm looking through chat. Oh man, I should open my game up and look through. But trying to think of one that I like go back to very often, because there are a couple. I know there are.
Oh, I have a
probably
good
find them in
question.
the spreadsheet. What's that?
Do you agree with Rohulk's no retry mindset?
In a sense, yeah. I don't see why there's a large hostility of retrying. I do think that like not retrying is very helpful, and it will very much like give you more consistency, and it won't like it's gonna be a lot harder for you to build mental blocks on a pattern, because if you
Right.
fuck up something once, then you play the whole map and then you come back to it, instead of like forcing yourself to continue playing this one pattern and then building wrong muscle memory. I
Right.
think it definitely helps with that. I definitely think that's why Rohulk is so comfortable playing such long marathon maps and like just FCing them in like one try is
Right.
because he doesn't retry. But I don't think that like never retrying is perfect. I
Right.
do think that like retrying has its place, and it's not like you should never retry.
No, I agree with that. I feel like one of the issues with retrying is that what I find is that it very much trains your brain. Like if you hit a retry instantly when you miss, it kind of trains your brain to, oh, I've missed. I instantly give up on even understanding this pattern that I missed on, and then you don't even end up processing what you did wrong, and then that like facilitates the wrong muscle memory thing. That I feel is the major issue. But I agree that never retrying is a bit extreme.
The place that I find it's okay to retry is if you like the map that you're playing, you know the only real reason you're missing is because of something dumb, or you're misaiming something. Because if you're retrying because you're not understanding a pattern, that's gonna deter you from like learning it.
Yeah.
But if you're retrying because you derped on something dumb,
Like a literal
then
shit miss.
it feels kind of dumb to just play the whole map because you have a no retry rule.
Right.
So, especially if you're like farming something, why would you play the whole farm map if you missed?
Any tips for really accurate players with no aim?
Ask Epiphany or Young.
Yeah, no, I feel like it is always, if one of your skills far exceeds another, I feel like it is always fine to kind of drop your main skill for a little bit and focus on the other, because then once you get back to it, even if you lost it a little bit, it'll always come back faster, while you have also then improved the other skill, right?
Yeah. Whatever you're best at, if you start to fall behind because you've learned it so well, it's going to be way, way, way easier to get back to your skill level.
Yeah.
I saw Praxia asking if you should learn AR8 for tournaments, and like, it's kind of a niche skill. It would be kind of helpful to play it for tournaments, but it's also like it only appears once in every map pool, and most people ban it anyways, so it's not the most
would you say it's
thing.
niche though, when it really, because that confuses me when you say it's a niche skill to be able to read AR8, whereas for me personally,
for tournament.
Specifically.
If we're talking for specifically tournament play, it's kind of just like a gimmick that the map like selectors will throw in once per round, just as like a let's see who can do this, instead of it being like a 4 of the nomad maps or AR8. So.
Like that one, oh wait, that was AR9, I think, the hidden pick in OWC finals stream map.
The one that you got
like
the
FC on?
marathon one?
It's like 2,000 notes or something.
There was Katanoff, and then there was B-Mix.
I think it was B-Mix that I'm referring to.
Silent Voyage.
Yeah,
that was AR8,
it was super derp. God.
Mm-hmm.
What are some, would you recommend old maps to new players? Or, because something that I ran into was old maps, sure, fine, sounds nice, but then I try it and I realize that I do not even remotely have the skill set to do it, and I first need to take an intermediate step somehow to get to the point where I can even feel old maps are, or would teach me anything.
The one thing that people, like, I'll get people asking me, like, how do I improve? Like, how do I get better? And the one thing that I'll usually tell them is to just play everything. Play as many different maps as you can, and if that includes old maps. So, like, play a bunch of modern maps, play a bunch of unranked maps, play a bunch of, like, 2012 stuff, and then play some old maps, and you'll start to build, like, reading for all of these different styles.
Right.
And so when, like, if a newer unranked map has got some wacky pattern that is like very linear, then you've got that covered from your playing old maps.
What would you say would be good aspects to determine by if a map that you're playing is good practice for you or not? Like, because a lot of people struggle finding stuff that's neither too easy nor too hard. Like, how can you for yourself determine kind of what a good thing to do is?
I kind of think everything is helping at least somewhat. Everything that you play will help something, unless it's just like a normal map or easy diffs.
No, what I mean by that is, like, a lot of people say when someone says just play stuff you can't do, a lot of people find themselves playing stuff that they get like an 80% B on, and then they're like, why am I not improving, or why am I so inconsistent? So they take it to the extreme.
Yeah, I guess it would be like maps that you can mostly do, but there will be something that trips you up in the map, or like a couple patterns that are too difficult. That would be where you can begin. Like if you're playing something, like if you can do a map well and then you try it with Hard Rock and you can't quite do it, but you can almost do it, that'd be helpful. I don't know. My personal opinion is that, like, just trying to play as much as you can, download a random pack, play through something.
And then would you say to always kind of, like, let's say your plan is to become the best player on the planet, would you then say to always just focus on stuff you can't do? Or when you say play everything, do you also mean stuff that you can do? Or just all the types in the realm of stuff that you can't really do?
If you want to, like, become the best player, I feel like consistency.
Step 1, assassinate Kukazi. Step 2,
assassinate everyone else that's in front.
Oh wow.
That's
Oh god, we're gonna die.
No, like, I feel like consistency on stuff that you can already do is important, as well as pushing yourself on stuff that you cannot do is important, and as well as, like, not overdoing anything and playing maps that you can almost farm. I feel like I remember there was a talk about, like, whether farm maps were helpful or not. I think they are, because, well, like, if you only play farm maps, that's not quite very good, because farm maps are very specific in the sort of skill sets that they need. But I don't think farming every once in a while should be frowned upon so much, because it is a certain skill. Like, playing DT jumpy stuff is a certain skill, and, like, try to be able to do that if you're going to become the best player.
I mean, yeah, honestly, if you've improved your consistency, then there's no reason as to why you shouldn't be able to just get farm maps quite easily, as long as they're on the right level.
Yeah. I don't know, I feel like to never stop pushing whatever you're doing is quite a primary important step, is to always be, like, never be comfortable with where you are. Because, like, I'm happy with what I do, and that's why I don't really ever push myself super hard. But if you want to become, like, the best, you kind of need to always be trying to play a harder to aim Hard Rock map, or a faster than you can tap DT map, or a more difficult than you can read no mod map, etc.
Right. It's interesting. A lot of people that play on higher levels feel like they want to be the best, but it is so easy to kind of talk yourself into giving up on that trying, because you're kind of doing what you're comfortable with, and stepping out of that comfort zone is very, very uncomfortable. So a lot of players will just fall into this, you know, oh, I play so much, I'm kind of stuck, I hit this wall, but never taking the step back of what am I actually bad at, and then taking the time to analyze why, and then focusing on that specifically.
It's hard because all of that takes effort and focus and, like, determination, and like a bunch, like, it's hard. It's a lot of effort to push yourself past some, like, a wall that you have built up.
Right. Because it's also this thing where you find yourself trying it for like a day, And then you kind of reinforce this idea of, oh, I just can't do this because you've tried it for a day and you've had this negative experience that just felt bad. It doesn't feel good to try hard on something that you can't do.
It's discouraging.
Very discouraging.
Which is why you need a lot of mental strength and like mental focus to be able to do that, to push yourself further constantly, to be always doing that.
All right. I think that's a good point to end on for now.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be free to answer questions outside of like the interview. Like if you message me in game or something, I'll be around because I know that there are a lot of questions that were not looked at.
Yeah, definitely. I can't really go over the hour. I've a commitment myself.
No,
So
I understand about that. But I see a lot of questions, and I can't really do them all here.
Yeah.
So I'll do them elsewhere.
All right. Oh no, that's actually his Twitter. Come on. All right.
No, yeah, there is an I instead of an L. It's bizarre. I couldn't get Toy Bickler for some reason. They were just like, you can't. This is not available. I'm like, can I use an I and make it look like an L? And they're like, I guess. I'm like, cool.
All right. Well, thank you so much for hanging out for the past hour. I'll be uploading it to YouTube soon. Maybe some other time as well, because I'm sure there's a million things that we could talk about. But for now, thank you for joining us, Mr. Toy. And I'll see you around.
Absolutely. Yeah. Very much excited to see how the rest of this month pans out.
I'm trying not to have any expectations so that I can't be disappointed. I'm just gonna. I have a plan. I'm gonna stick to it, and we'll see how it turns out.
I just like watching you struggle, really.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. A lot of people say that. Oh, I just like watching the pain in your face. Well, thank you. All right. Well, thank you again, dude. We'll see you around.
Thanks for having me.
All right. See you, dude.
Adios.